Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the third episode of Orange Spotlight, where we have our biggest guest yet. Well, physically, that is the 6'6", 260-plus-pound offensive tackle prospect who will be taking his talents from Minnesota to Syracuse in the fall. Tyler Magnuson, the three-star recruit. Thank you so much for joining us, Tyler.
Of course.
Well, thanks for joining us, and congrats on winning the state championship last year, and congrats on a phenomenal football career at Wayzata High School in Plymouth, Minnesota. You've definitely made your mark felt on a lot of D linemen's pads, a lot of pancakes laid. But has football always been your number one, Tyler? I know you play a little bit of lacrosse too, but when you started playing football, did you know that this was your favorite sport?
Yeah, I used to play lacrosse, and then actually in ninth grade, I kind of did like lacrosse a bit more, but I had to stop playing because my head was too big for the helmets. So yeah, that was kind of the end of it. And once I took football a little more seriously, I just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Tyler, we often see offensive and defensive linemen making an impact on the offense, whether that be as a tackle eligible, hauling in a touchdown, or carrying the rock from the goal line. Throughout your football career, whether it be peewee, high school, whatever, have you played any other positions, and when did you become solely an offensive lineman?
Yeah, I played I played some D-line, and then I also played tight end, and I kind of just stuck to the O-line in 10th grade.
Mm-hmm.
In ninth grade, I played, a bit of everything, including D-line, but then I had like an injury, and then coming back into 10th grade, they just, had me on the line. So, yeah, and, being a bigger kid, you kind of just have to love it. So,
Yeah, I'm sure. Do you plan on trying to work yourself into the offense at all at Syracuse in the passing game, maybe?
it's a dream, but we'll see what happens. So,
For sure.
We'll see if you have the typical lineman hands or not. Hopefully you get your chance there. So
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the biggest accomplishment of your high school career, playing in the state championship game last year, the 6A state championship, and winning. You played right on US Bank Stadium, which, are you a Vikings fan? I assume you've got to be, right?
Yeah, for sure. For
For
sure.
sure. So you played on Vikings US Bank Stadium. You played and won as a member of the Trojans. So tell us a little bit about that season. What made that team so special of yours, and what are the kinds of characteristics that team had in some of the aspects of leadership, of camaraderie that you want to try to bring to the Orange football community?
Yeah, I think it was just like being a family. We spent so much time together, like on and off the field. And just, once you really get to know each other on a really deep personal level, I feel like you play a lot better. So one of the biggest things for us, like the incoming O-line, has been kind of like connecting, how we can virtually. And hopefully we'll just get, to develop really deep relationships and be able to work as one, So yeah, that O-line, we were hanging out, every day, like even after football, we'd spend 2 hours on the field and then go home and spend 3 hours together. So I think it's just really important to like spend all your time with those guys and just develop that trust.
Yeah, as a former JV lineman myself, I know the camaraderie between five guys. You have to work as one to make a play successful. If one guy's out of line, you're toast. And, you have to have that camaraderie and that friendship to make sure you can get through that stuff together.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course. So Mike McAllister, the publisher of Syracuse on Sports Illustrated, described you as playing with a level of violence, as if you want to destroy your opponent. Would you say that you agree with him? Do you play angry? Is it your desire to win, or is it just your pure competitiveness?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of all things, definitely. I love to win, but I think, I finally realized I love the O-line so much because, you can kind of get away with just, bumbling the dude across from you and being a nice guy off the field. It's really fun to flip that switch and just, have fun and kind of be dominant. But yeah, I guess here at Wayzata, we really like put an emphasis on being the toughest guy in the trench.
Yeah.
On both sides of the ball. And so I don't know, we just have a lot of fun doing it. And yeah, definitely I like to play physical and a bit mean. So
yeah, I'm sure that contrast works well because, like you just said, like you're a nice guy off the field, but like you get to go on the field and you get to run some people over. And that's probably a pretty fun transition.
definitely.
Have a bad day at school, teacher yells at you, dad yells at you, go on the field, you pretend your teammate's your dad, and your teammate, he goes down. I understand where the anger comes from. So, you got you play physical, and you can play physical because of your size. You mentioned you're close to 6'6". But one of the biggest challenges for high school linemen is putting on weight, and you certainly haven't really had a challenge for that. You were 230 pounds, give or take, in your junior year, and then you're up to like something like 260, 270 right now, right?
Yeah, I weighed when I played the championship game my junior year. I was 215, and now I'm at 270, like on the dot. So,
Wow.
like, yeah, putting on weight, it hasn't been much of a problem. And I guess I never really had done it till my off season going into senior year. So, if I was able to put that weight on, I'm sure getting to 300 will be, pretty easy.
Yeah, man. And you're definitely going to have to get up to 300 because,
Right.
no disrespect to Minnesota high school football, but, when you're playing in, against some top ACC opponents, you're not going to be 215 pounds. They're going to be right around your size, 250, 300. So, it's really good to see that you don't have a problem, getting the weight up and, getting where you need to be physically.
Yeah, for sure.
So a bit of a question, off football. Tyler, what do you plan on studying at Syracuse? And besides your football career, what type of occupation do you see yourself working in and why?
Yeah, I applied to the Whitman School of Business, but my major's undecided right now. And then at home, I kind of run like an eBay business, selling all things from like collectibles to shoes to electronics. So I definitely think I'll be um, either opening like my own kind of like outdoors goods store or just kind of opening a store, like a consignment shop.
Okay.
We'll see though, I don't know. And also, I'm thinking maybe like even a coffee shop. So it's kind of, it bounces all over, every day.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, where do you think that love for, getting stuff and reselling it, where do you think that came from, or like just creating something of your own and working with it?
Yeah, I am big into shoes right now. And then when I was younger, I couldn't have a job just being, 13. I mean, you can't work anywhere. So I'd I'd use my mom's credit card, and then she'd let me purchase some shoes to flip, and she put a little trust in it, and I kind of grew the business, and I was able to collect and sell, and then also wear what I love. So
Yeah, I was always tempted to get into that selling shoe business, but I was always too nervous that I was going to end up losing money, and my dad was going to get a little upset with me. So that never fell
yeah.
through, but yeah.
What's the nicest pair of shoes that you think you've ever flipped?
Uh Shoot, flip wise, I mean, I think the nicest pair was the off-white Blazers, the All Hallows Eve. So they're kind of like an orange tone, but
Yeah.
yeah, they're really cool. I definitely wish I kept them now, but
Yeah.
at the time it was nice to have a little extra cash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. And then you also mentioned that, maybe a coffee shop in the future for you. I was doing a little bit of digging, and, I know Minnesota football this year is a little bit up in the air. And, you didn't know if you were going to get a season this year or March. You ended up getting it in the fall. You were able to get 8 games in, which is great, one last ride with you guys. But while the season was in flux, you picked up a job at Starbucks. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't picture you as the guy who's going in sipping frappuccinos, but hey, power to you. I'm a big Starbucks guy too. How was that in
Yeah.
the course? Were you
Yeah.
a barista? Were you giving out the orders? A big intimidating guy, but with a nice smile, giving people their cups of coffee and spelling their names wrong as a typical Starbucks worker would.
Yeah, no, I was doing all of the above. It was definitely fun too. And yeah, I would have, I quit because like training and everything. But if I, wasn't playing football, I probably would have worked there the whole year. So, well, yeah, no, the amount of coffee I was drinking there on each shift kind of really built a huge tolerance, and it got crazy. I mean, think of like getting 1 cup and like, multiply that by 5, and that's 1 shift. It's just nuts.
Definitely. Well, this question's not necessarily revolving around coffee, but recently Syracuse brought in a new offensive line coach, Mike Schmidt. Not the legendary third baseman, mind you, but a very accomplished O-line guru. Tyler, are you aware that at San Diego State University, Coach Schmidt's lines blocked for back-to-back nation-leading rushing attacks?
Yeah, definitely. No, I read up on him, and we actually did talk already. So he's a great guy, and I'm excited. But I knew about him because of Rashad Penny. I'm kind of a Seahawks fan, so
Oh.
it was cool to kind of hear. He coached the line that led Rashad, and back in his college days.
Yeah. So what has the transition been like? So you weren't originally recruited by Coach Schmidt. So, what's the difference between not even stepping on campus yet and having two different offensive line coaches?
Yeah, it was definitely weird because Coach Cav and I, we FaceTimed at least once a week, usually upwards of 2 or 3 times a week. So, um, we still have a great relationship, but it's definitely interesting, and it was a bit of an adjustment. But now, I think everything will be fine, and I trust, Coach Babers and Coach Schmidt, and I'm just excited to finally meet the staff in person. Um, yeah, but with the NCAA dead period, I'm sure you guys know that we can't get out there till like June. So now I don't even think I'll meet the coaches or see the school till I'm like enrolled. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, I'm sure it'll work itself out.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously it's been crazy for everybody this year with COVID, and heck, I haven't even stepped on campus. Doesn't seem like you have. Or did you get to officially visit in your junior year? Or have you not been there at all?
No, yeah. For my recruitment process, I was only able to visit Iowa State on a junior day. That was it. So
That was it.
I haven't really seen any campuses.
Yeah, just like a lot of kids this year, you kind of had to just go off your gut. You mentioned a lot of times how it just felt like a family over there at Syracuse. And you know what will probably make you comfortable is that run game, because Coach Schmidt, as you mentioned, he's coached Rashad Penny, Donnell Pumphrey, a couple of really 2,000-yard runners at San Diego State. The Babers offense really relies a lot around the run game and, being able to physically back your opponents down in the trenches and provide lanes for the running back. As most O linemen would agree, do you agree that run blocking is superior to pass blocking in a sense that you rather get your hands on somebody and drive them 5 yards down the field than pass set? Or do you really not care what your assignment is? You're just going to go out there and you're going to play ball?
Yeah, I guess I do like run blocking a bit more. And here at Wyzetta though, we did like an RPO no huddle type of deal too. So I think the transition will be fine. And but yeah, I really didn't do much pass setting in high school. So I guess the run blocking, it's just my favorite kind of by the conditions I was working with in high school. So
yeah, it was just the offense that you were coached around, and obviously you're probably have to pass block a little bit more at Syracuse in a more pro style game. But yeah, it's great to know that you've already got a little bit of experience in the RPO game. It's become big in high school and now in college, so that's great to know that you're a little bit comfortable there. And speaking of college, you committed to Syracuse in August of last year. You committed there over 17 other schools. You got that offer in May of 2020 from Syracuse before a couple bigger schools, or big schools just like Syracuse, Arizona, and Duke came into the party and offered you in the summer. But what were your first impressions of that Syracuse offer in May of 2020? As you mentioned, you had never been on campus really for any school, but did you even know where Syracuse was on a map? I mean, you're not really remotely close. They're both cold, sure, but one's on the East Coast, one's in the middle of the country. Were you familiar with the Syracuse football program or athletic program at the time in general? So yeah, just tell us a little bit about what you knew about Syracuse when you got the offer.
yeah, playing lacrosse when I was younger, I knew they had a really good lacrosse program. And then Jim Brown, obviously being an alumni of Syracuse football, I thought that was pretty cool. But as far as that goes, that's all I'd really heard about it. And yeah, I guess as I kind of like looked more into it, it's a lot, or upstate New York's really similar to Minnesota and everything, and that kind of made me a bit more comfortable. But like receiving the offer from Syracuse, I remember it like it was just a great feeling because I mean I knew they played in the ACC and it was the biggest offer, you know, um, like my first Power 5 offer and everything. So I kind of just looked at my mom and I was like, like this is it. And I pull up the stadium and I was like, this is big time. And then she was all jazzed up and I was excited too. So it was awesome. It was a great day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm that loud roar in the Carrier Dome is probably going to add some sort of momentum when you're, like Ian said, driving that defensive end down the field 5 yards. So you talked about your game plan, your high school's game plan, and you're a little bit about your play set. So in my opinion, offensive linemen do not get enough credit in any level of football for the dirty work that they do up front. So is there anybody in the NFL, past or present, that you would compare your game to and why?
Oh, geez. I don't even know. I mean, I guess I haven't really thought that far, but a couple of people, I like look up to in the NFL and in the league and whatever would be Quentin Nelson on the what is it, on the Colts,
Yep.
and then Taylor Lewan from the Titans. So I'm sure you guys have seen them. They're both nasty and physical and fun to watch. And
both
I guess
vibrant personalities.
Yeah, right. So I don't know. It's just I feel like they're kind of, the top dogs of the linemen in the NFL currently, and they're fun to watch and they have a pretty big media presence too. So it's just, some people to look up to.
Totally.
And speaking of those guys with exciting personalities, you're one of the 6 Syracuse offensive line commits this year. You've talked about the camaraderie that you had with your high school teammates. You alluded to how virtually you've been able to talk to the recruits a little bit and build that connection with them. Tell us a little bit about some of the personalities that you're going to be forging a relationship with and then eventually forging playing time with during your Syracuse career. Who are some of your good buddies on the O-line and why are they so, what are their personalities? And, who are some of the guys who you're really excited not only to play alongside because they're great and you've watched them on film, but also because they're just good guys overall?
Yeah, no, I mean, it seems like a great group. Honestly, I talked to Austin the most, I'd say, and I've talked to Enrique a couple times, but I think we're all pretty like-minded. We all, love to win and everything. We love to compete, but as far as like an in-depth personality, I feel like I've gotten to know Austin quite a bit, and he just seems, kind of like me, like goofy, nice, loves to go outside. I mean, living in Hawaii, I'm sure you guys have seen some of the pics on his Instagram, loves to adventure and all that. So I can see some like similarities, and I'm just excited to, finally be rooming with them and really get to know them. So, yeah.
Yeah, and before we go to our all chalk segment, you mentioned that you were really comfortable with Syracuse, New York, because it was a very, beautiful environment. You're a big outdoors guy, I've heard, and you can hike, you can do everything that you love to do, get out, free your mind. Why are you such a big outdoors guy, and what are you most excited to do, in your free time at Syracuse and in the surrounding, New York State area?
Yeah, I kind of went to like, no, I did go to these summer camps when I was little, and the first one was kind of, a cluster of cabins, like you have a little group designated and whatever, and it's a week trip. But through going to that camp, I heard about this one called Camp Minojan in the Boundary Waters area, up north in Cook County, Minnesota. So I went there for a couple summers, and I worked up to I think it was like a 22-day backpacking trip in the Yellowstone backcountry. So yeah, so it was a lot of fun, but I kind of had to choose between, furthering that or football, and I chose football. So, but I still definitely have a huge love for the outdoors, and I love to go on trips whenever I can. I mean, it's kind of hard because, with school and everything, but then as far as getting out to Cuse, I think I'm really excited to kind of explore the lakes around there. Although there aren't, as many here or as many there as there are here, but I'm just excited. And when I used to talk to Coach Cav a lot, he'd always FaceTime me, at the resorts around there and everything. So it looks like a good time,
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'm sure you'll get the opportunity to check out a little bit of the scenery out in Syracuse, whether it's in the middle of nowhere or not. So like Ian just alluded to, we've reached the all chalk segment of the interview, which is basically where the audience gets to know a little bit more about our special guest. There's 6 rapid fire questions. Tyler, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So who's your favorite professional athlete?
I'd say Quentin Nelson. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So what is your favorite movie or television show? Anything recently or just an all-time classic that you can't, get your mind off of?
Yeah, I'd say Palm Springs. It's like this Hulu original, and I think I've watched it like 3 times in the past week, so I just love it.
Yeah.
All right. What is your favorite video game?
Currently Steep. It's like a snowboarding game. I don't know. Pretty fun. Really relaxing.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's an out-of-the-box answer. Our other 2 have a boring Madden answer, boo-hoo,
Yeah.
nobody cares. I like that, Tyler.
For sure.
What about your favorite food? You're a big guy. You've bulked up a lot over the last year. What's your go-to?
I'd just say anything with chicken, really. I mean, it's just so convenient. You just cook it up or chop it up or do whatever with it. And, pasta, whatever. So
Yeah.
I know you talked about liking exploring like lakes and stuff. So where's your favorite vacation spot?
Honestly, I'd say, if I'm traveling, definitely somewhere in Mexico. But if I'm in the States, I'd definitely say the Boundary Waters.
Awesome.
You've been to Mexico a lot, or is that somewhere you want to go?
No, I mean, whenever we go on like a spring break trip or winter break, we go there. So, you know,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So, you know, I mean, I love going there. Obviously, we don't go there like every year, but it's definitely fun when we go.
And then lastly, you know, I personally think that the O-linemen are some of the smartest guys in all of school. They're some of the smartest guys on the field. It's a big playbook. There's a lot of assignments. What's your favorite subject in school?
I'd probably say environmental science. Yeah. Or Spanish, honestly.
Spanish. Oh, I wish I didn't drop it this year.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is all for episode 3 of Orange Spotlight. Tyler, thank you so much for joining us. You've got, you know, a really great personality, a lot of great answers, and can't wait to see you finally hit the field and get to Syracuse in June to do what you do best, which is get angry and knock people over. And hopefully you can do that a lot over the next 4 years as a member of the Orange. From Cole Weintraub and Ian Nicholas, this was Orange Spotlight episode 3 with Tyler Magnuson.